I'm Ms. Jackson coming to you with another video.
Okay, this is a quick way to graph sine and cosine graph. So I'm going to start with this example, y equals 3 cosine of x minus pi over 4 plus 1. The first step, we're going to identify the vertical shift, and in the equation, the vertical shift is d, which is 1. Step 2, we're going to identify the amplitude and add it to the vertical shift. So the amplitude is 3, and if we add it to the vertical shift of 1, we're going to get 4. And this is going to be our maximum y value on the graph. Step 3, we're going to identify the amplitude and subtract it from the vertical shift. So again, the vertical shift is 1, the amplitude is 3. So 1 minus 3 is negative 2, which is going to be our minimum point on the graph. Step 4, the midline is the vertical shift. So it's the halfway point between the max and the min. So that's going to be y equals 1. So I'm going to go to my graph. I'm going to plot 4, which is the maximum point, and also put negative 2, which is the minimum point, and then put a horizontal asymptote through the midline, which is the vertical shift. All right, step 5, I'm going to find the period. The period is 2 pi divided by absolute value b. b is 1, so 2 pi divided by 1 is 2 pi. Step number 6, I'm going to find the horizontal shift. So I'm going to take everything in the parentheses in the function x minus power 4 in the function and set it equal to 0. And then I'm going to solve for x. So you add power 4 to both sides and you get x equals power 4. All right, this will be my starting point because this is my phase shift. So I'm going to plot power 4 on my graph. Step 7, we're going to add the phase shift to the period to find the ending point. So the phase shift was power 4. We're going to add 2 pi to power 4. We get 2 and 1/4 pi, which is 9 pi over 4. And then we're going to put that on our graph. All right, so to find the halfway point between power 4 and 9 power 4 is going to be 5 power 4. All right, the halfway point between power 4 and 5 power 4 is 3 power 4. And the halfway point between 5 power 4 and 9 power 4 is 7 power 4. So that's how we find our angles. All right, since this is a cosine graph, our first point is going to be, it's going to have the y value of the max, which is 4. 3 power 4 would be at the midline, which is 1. 5 power 4 is going to be in the minimum. It's going to be at the minimum point, which is negative 2. So it'll be 5 power 4 comma negative 2. 7 power 4 would be plotted on the midpoint or the midline, and 9 power 4 would be at the max, which is 4. And this is my graph.